I don't know, man. Is it time for Raheem Sterling to leave the club? Raheem Sterling, keep or sell? That is the question that we want to ask you guys. So get involved down below in the comments and give us your thoughts on everything we're about to say. Revel, Raheem Sterling has been in the club for what, 5-6 years now? He's won multiple leagues, multiple cups, never a Champions League, but he's actually, always been a consistently really good player, and he has been absolutely huge in bringing us from the level we were before he came and before Pep came to where we are now. Now, granted, Sterling has had underwhelming seasons by his high standards this season and last. But before you give your thought on this, I want to throw stats at you just so you can maybe, reshape your thoughts, and we can both say whether we think keep or sell, because there's a lot to go into this conversation, because it's not someone you just talk about lightly, Raheem Sterling. He's a huge figure, and he absolutely is crucial to our squad, and we know Pep finds him to be a very important player. In his whole career at Manchester City, Raheem Sterling has played 338 games. In that period, scoring 131 goals and 94 assists. You do the maths. I can't do it off the top of my head. Add that up in terms of goal contributions, but that is some fantastic stats for a winger. If a striker got those stats, you'd be saying, damn, he's a pretty good player. This is Raheem Sterling playing on the wing. Now, granted, he's played through quite a few different formations, quite a few different setups, with quite a few different partnerships as well. And I think the current one he's playing, which is where we play a false nine system and no striker, is possibly the one that doesn't suit him the most. And it's possibly why people are having doubts over his future. Revel, take over. Where do you stand with Raheem Sterling, and how do you feel about his future?
Yeah, it's a really sticky situation for Sterling, definitely, because I'm in the camp that if he wants to sign the contract, you get him on the contract, you keep him here for 3 or 4 more years, because he's an outstanding player. And as Murray alluded to, he's not in his favourite system. He's not playing his favourite role. He's been put across 3 different roles in the front 3 this year, and he's still putting up good numbers. That's what I find crazy, that he's not playing his preferred role, and he's still putting up really decent numbers. He's also learned how to take penalties as well this season. He's one of those players where he starts for the majority of teams in the world, especially when he's on top form. He starts for us when he's on top form. I think it's too hard to take a player out of that. I think it's too hard to take a player like him out of it. But there is a cloud there. If he doesn't sign that contract, I think I'm more than happy. I'd be more than happy personally to let him go. And it pains you to say that, but it's purely down to the fact that if he doesn't want to sign the contract, you can't risk letting that man walk for free. It's simple.
I think most of the frustrations around Sterling, from the fans anyway, stems from the chances missed. I mean, Sterling regularly gets chances put on a plate and he doesn't take them. But that still is weird to say, considering this season he scored 17 goals and got 8 assists. They're still fantastic stats. Now, we know in previous seasons when he has had partnerships and systems he prefers, he hit 30 goals a season twice, and that's unbelievable. We know there's a fantastic player in there. Now, in terms of his contract, yes, he is going into his final season, and that's not a position any club wants to be in with a player, definitely of his market value. Because regardless of how well you think he's playing on the pitch, his stats and his pedigree and what he's won will mean he has a very high market value. In terms of if he does want to leave, where does he go? He's kind of in a twilight zone. I've seen other people talk about this, so I want to credit other people talking about this, and I think it's a very good point. I saw Jordan and Lewis talking about it on City Extra, which is that Sterling he's not quite good enough to be like, he has to stay at City indefinitely, give him a new contract, blank check, and he's not quite bad enough to drop down to, with all due respect, the level of, say, Tottenham and Arsenal, who have been linked, their names have been thrown around to sign Sterling. Sterling, who's still very much in the prime of his career, will want to, if he is to move to a club that will be challenging for the league and challenging for Champions League. And he deserves it. He's absolutely good enough. And I think going to a Tottenham or Arsenal is probably not that. And we know that Sterling has alluded to in the past, he likes the idea of trying his hand playing abroad, maybe in Spain or in Italy or Germany. So that could be an option for him. But in terms of us keeping him, I think where I stand, and I'm going to give him my answer, is keep. It is keep and review his contract situation in December, January. Why do I say December, January? Because I believe with Alvarez coming in and with Haaland coming in, I think with the credit Sterling has in the bank at the club and his actual ability that we've seen, even when we think he's not playing well, he has earned the right to be given time playing alongside Alvarez or Haaland, a designated out-and-out striker, and see how he gets on, because we know how good he is with a striker. Look back at the 18-19 season and the Centurion season when he had Aguero beside him. The guy was outrageous. He was arguably the best winger in the world at that time in terms of performance and numbers. So I think it's only right that he gets that chance to play alongside him. And if come December, January, February, it's still not working out and it still doesn't look like, it's the club for Sterling and he just doesn't click with Haaland and Alvarez, maybe then say, it's time to move on. And unfortunately, the position we'll be in at that point is that we won't get a huge amount of money from him. But that's a risk that I would be willing to take for Raheem Sterling, because my gut feeling is I backed him. I've always backed Raheem Sterling. There's video evidence is that he will come good beside a striker. And that's why I'd be willing to take the risk in going into his final season. I wouldn't be rushing right now to offer him a new contract. I'd be waiting to see how he fares out in what will hopefully be a new system, or a new option anyway for us. What do you reckon?
Definitely. I think with a striker in that thing, again, I think he'll be more suited to having like an Aguero where he can drop into the channels, where he plays that kind of role, which isn't a false nine, but a player who's small enough and nimble enough to drop into those channels. I haven't actually seen him properly out and out target man like Haaland. That's the only thing I'd say. But I have to say, I do think he'd come a lot better with a striker. But I also would say, on the note of the contract, I think maybe if you're waiting that long, he could end up becoming a bit more unsettled. If City aren't making any progress with the contract, that's another thing. He could end up just turning around saying, "Oh, what, fuck this, I'm off." And you don't want to let that happen either. I'm definitely, it's good. Like, it's such a sticky situation. Like, City are something a rock and a hard place in the sense that they have to either just offer, either shell out or just let him go. Like, I think that's what it has to be. Like, I think if he's on this contract thing, if he's waiting for a contract offer and he doesn't get it within a certain amount of time, he might just turn around and say, "Bun it," you know what I mean? But I think you are dead right in the sense that it's a risk that's worth taking, having him around the strike. Because I'm really looking forward to this next season. Obviously, get this one out of the way. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I want to see Haaland. I want to see how Sterling performs with him. I want to see Alvarez. I want to see how everybody around them performs. You know what I mean? It's a make or break. It's his make or break season. Is he going to stay at City? You know what I mean?
I think a lot of it comes down to Sterling's personality and if he has an ego or not. Now, obviously, I don't know Sterling personally, so I can't comment on that. But everything I've seen of him suggests he's a very reasonable guy and he's a mature guy. And I think if City sat down with him now at the end of this season and said, "We're not going to open up official negotiations for a contract," I think it's best for all parties that we just see how you get on. And I think you might find if Sterling agrees to that next season and postponing contract negotiations based on the fact that they want to see how he gets on with a striker, playing with the striker, Sterling's morale and confidence may boost and get bigger if he's playing well, which is what we believe clearly is what will be the case. And then open up negotiations when there's a feel-good factor and things are going well. So it's an interesting one. And my final answer is, with Sterling, and you can give yours on keep or sell, is keep on the basis that he is a risk worth taking on the basis that we do now have two great strikers coming in. What about you?
I think, taking everything into account, contract situation, all that, I'd love to keep him. I'd really, really love to keep him. It's a lot of ifs, buts, coconuts, but give the right circumstances. If he's staying, I'll love him to stay. So I'm not saying keep him.
We're both saying keep. Listen, while Sterling does get stick, and sometimes it is justified because people naturally, when you're in the heat of the moment in the game, you get frustrated when he'll miss an open net. I mean, he did that against Wolves. I know he scored, but he did miss a couple of golden opportunities. But we have to remember what he does contribute in terms of stats. The ones I spoke about at the start of the video, they're outstanding stats, which I feel, should he stay, which I think he will, and play alongside Haaland, they will only improve. So get down below in the comments and give us your thoughts. Keep or sell Raheem Sterling. Please bear in mind everything we spoke about. And if we haven't covered any angles, do let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. Do us a massive favor as well. We're getting really close now to our goal of 2.5k subs. Subscribe if you're new. Tell your friends to subscribe. Hit the like button and join the community. There's big things coming, big upgrades, and a lot of very exciting plans. Good night and God bless.